Oh, shit. Maxx motherfucking Moore in the building.
What's up?
This has been a long time coming.
Yes. Yes. We've been talking about this for quite some time.
Couple years.
Since we
met at Island Vibes.
Yep.
We're like fucking both fans of Rogan, and we're like, bro, we would fucking do a good one.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Good luck, everybody.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed this show because I already told Blake, I was like, you better be ready for some weird shit.
Max is like, do we have a time limit? I'm like, what's your time slot? He's like, 9 p.m. I'm like, nope.
No time limit.
So fucking about to bust out the mushrooms, and we'll fucking go to town. No, maybe this will be the first podcast we smoke on.
That would be great.
Yeah, maybe I'll have Danielle bring something up in a little bit.
That'd be great.
Cool?
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Awesome. All right, so I usually like to start these off with a very simple, who are you and what do you do?
So my name is Maxx Moore. Currently, I'm a outside sales rep for Rangeline Tapping Services. It involves something nobody knows anything about. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So I came into West Palm Beach, Riviera Beach, worked for two distributors, Core & Main and Ferguson Waterworks. Probably never heard of them.
This is the type of thing that nobody knows existed, but if you didn't exist, fucking shit would be haywire, right?
That's what I was going to end up getting to. Yeah. So technically, I did that for about 4 years. COVID hit. I got furloughed. 4 months down the drain. Was losing my mind. Ended up reaching out to the company I'm with now. And so our main services are line stopping, hot and wet tapping, line freezing, and valve inserting.
Okay.
So basically, when you guys are all in your beds at night, tucked in, sleeping nice, and everything's going beautiful, and it's all great, a water main could blow. And that water main can be anywhere from 8 inches to 54 inches or bigger. So when that happens, and they don't have valves that they maintain, what we'll do is we will come in and we'll install a sleeve that goes around the pipe on both sides, okay? Once you install that sleeve, we'll pressure test it to make sure that we can perform the work. And what we'll do is we'll hook up a machine that has a huge tapping drill bit, almost like a hole saw. Think of it like a hole saw.
Okay.
For most people that don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But in the middle of it, it has an arbor bit with these U wires that fall down. They stay, horizontal, and then they'll drop to, they stay vertical, and then they drop to horizontal. So what we do is we drill into that piece of pipe while it's under pressure, full blast.
Well, that's the big thing what we're talking about here is that it's under pressure.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what people don't understand.
Yeah.
So when these water mains break, thousands upon thousands of gallons can just start coming out of the system immediately.
Yeah, which will create some serious fucking problems.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Fort Lauderdale had something happen in 2019 with their force main in which basically their force main failed 4 times in 1 year. And for those of you that do not know what a force main is, that is all of your poop. That is everything you flush down the toilet. That is everything hospitals flush down the toilet. That is everything your crazy people flush down the toilet. So when that breaks, it's not going to go down because it's so compact down that the pressure is going to force it up. So we've had situations where the city doesn't know what's going on with their valves or their lift stations or their pumps, which all of this is stuff that...
Greek to some.
Yes.
Right.
We would spend way too long in the podcast talking solely about that.
Yeah.
But we were on a job and they didn't shut down something and a whole structure moved. It was about 30 feet of pipe, manhole, a lot of heavy stuff. And the pressure was so thick or so intense that it literally sliced a hole in a ductile iron pipe. So that's steel for those of you who don't know. That's cast iron steel. And just split it in half. And the guy that was working 2 feet away got covered in
feces.
So, but getting back to what I was saying,
Yeah.
you know, when something breaks in the middle of the night or you see something happening on the side of the road.
Yeah.
What we'll do is we will shut down, we'll drill into that pipe, we'll bring out the piece of pipe that we cut into, bring it out, put on our line stopping machine, insert that head, and it basically goes in like a butterfly, and as soon as it hits the bottom, it opens up. So it stops the flow and redirects it through a bypass.
Okay. So you're able to reroute this thousands of gallons of water in real time.
Yep.
So that everything downline doesn't lose water, and then another crew is able to come in and fix that fucking pipe.
Yes.
Yeah.
The section that's been isolated.
This is fucking highly important shit.
Yes.
That nobody knows exists or is happening.
So the way I like to put it to, you know, my everyday friends is, what's, like, for example, what are the first two things you do when you wake up?
Shit and shower.
Okay.
Is that fair?
No, that's fair.
Okay.
It's either shit and brush your teeth or shit and shower.
Yeah.
So without us or without the underground utility, that's not possible.
Right.
There's no water. There's no hot water. There's states that are pulling water from 500 miles away.
Jeez.
So what people don't understand is there could be a water war eventually. I know that sounds insane because
So
we're
you're saying
70% water, but there
that
could
we
be
would
a
run out of fresh water.
yes.
Isn't that, they've said that it could be a real problem in the state of Florida specifically.
So the state of Florida is weird in regards to the amount of rainfall we get in our aquifers. So
we collect rainwater.
we collect rainwater and we have a bunch of underwater aquifers that store that rainwater. The problem is getting it back up to the surface
Okay.
in a constructive manner without destroying the environment.
Yeah.
Because obviously, you know, the era we're in, it's protect the environment.
Yeah.
Which obviously I understand, but at some point we have to keep living too.
Yeah.
So it's a really tough balance.
Yeah.
But you know, it's interesting when I got into this industry, into construction. My mom grew up selling concrete pipe, manholes. You know, was a real tough
no
woman.
shit.
Real tough woman.
Okay.
She'd get down in the manholes that were covered in poop and inspect them and say, this is what you need. And that's kind of really where I learned the construction industry.
Yeah.
She's a rock star, man. She really she got us through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, she really did. And I'm grateful for that because I don't know where I'd be. You know, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, my profession is sales. Like, that is such an odd thing. If you really think about it, you're not physically doing anything.
Yeah.
You're not building anything. You're not helping you're helping people, but you're selling them something.
Yeah.
But the service is going to be needed. But the way I look at it, which is not your typical salesman, is I want you to make the most money possible, but me make the most money possible.
Yeah. Mutually beneficial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people want that one-time sale. But I want the person that's going to continually come back.
Yeah. Sales is about relationships.
It's about relationships and knowing how to gauge people and what to say to them. Because everyone in construction is vastly different. People don't realize that either. So there's multiple stages. You know, you have your guys in the field, the guys that I could send a job to an estimator who's going to end up bidding the job.
Yeah.
They get the job. He sends it to the PM. Well, the PM can then reach out to a different company to see if they want to go with them or reach out to us. So we may have been the low bidder, but if that guy doesn't like me, he's not going to use me.
Yeah, it's very true.
You know, it's the same thing with the kava bar.
Yeah.
You know, if you create an environment that's negative and kind of run down and grungy and, you know, not good product, it's not going to last.
Yeah, you got to cultivate relationships. You got to
Yes.
cultivate your environment. Sales is an interesting position. My dad's been a salesman his whole life. He started off selling pressure washers door to door. No, I think he started off selling fucking Electrolux vacuums door to door, and then got into the pressure wash industry. And then for about 30 years, he's been in similar job as yourself, disaster cleanup. through Sunbelt Rentals. So he would set
Yeah,
up
that's
national
huge.
accounts for if there's a hurricane, a flood, fires, they bring in the dehumidifiers, the pumps to pump out water, the generators to keep power going in an emergency in an emergency situation. And his job is really maintaining relationships. That's what he did for his company. Like, he would take groups of people to Vegas, show them a good time, and keep that relationship going, you know? I've also heard him talk about, I was in the car with him one time. It was like 4th of July. We're spending some time together, and his phone rings. He answers the phone. This is my dad. He's a 24-hour guy. His ringtone on his phone is what most people's alarm is to wake up.
I know the feeling.
Right?
I know the
and
feeling.
He answers
Trust
this
me.
call, and it happens to be somebody who he's been trying to sell to for like 6 or 7 years, who always went with the competitor. And he ended up closing like a $10 million deal because he answered the phone on a holiday. And it was a lesson. He used it as a lesson for me. Like, Blake, if you're going to be in sales or facilitating relationships, like, you have to be available and you have to be willing to answer the phone. And sometimes it's the guy who's willing to answer the phone on the holiday who's going to get the fucking job, you know?
And typically those jobs are going to be your biggest paying jobs. So
Yeah.
the way that I look at sales, I have a couple different philosophies. One is never hate on your competition. Never.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think these are very valuable. This is what I've gained from listening to my mom's 25 years of experience and listening to my customers talk. But
Yeah.
you gain nothing from talking trash about your competition.
Yeah.
Nothing. You're hurting yourself because you're showing a weakness in yourself. Number 2, always be honest and transparent, because I can't tell you how many times I will talk to a customer and say, listen, man, I don't have an update for you. I've been working on it. I'm waiting for a call back. And they're just like, thank you. At least I know you're working on it.
Right. And you're shooting it to me straight instead of dodging the phone call.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or,
You know.
or feeding me a load of bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
People can
then
see through that.
number 3, don't oversell.
What do you mean by oversell?
So this is an interesting concept. So, you know, in my business, we can sell extra services, such as supplying materials and things of that nature, just like everybody in a business can. You can
Right.
add products to your line.
Yep.
But if that customer can get that somewhere else already, right? And you can spread the love around without having to add an additional markup, the customer is going to appreciate that, because now not only are you their salesman, but you're looking out for them.
Yeah.
You know, but a lot of people don't look at it like that.
Right. They
a lot
want every penny.
They want every penny. And I get that. But that pushes a lot of people away.
Yeah.
And I've brought back a lot of business to our company solely through following up, continually calling customers and making sure they're happy. And if they're not happy, say, what can I do better?
Yeah.
Because you have to admit your wrongs. That's the other thing. When I screw up, I'll tell the customer, this is my fault. There's no one else to blame but me. It is on me 110%.
It's almost like when you do that, you turn a negative into the biggest positive you can have. It shows somebody that you're trustworthy and you have integrity.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to be much more willing to spend that dollar with you because you were like, listen, man, I fucked this up. I bid that wrong. It's actually going to be, $10,000 more.
Yep.
But it's
And that
important.
happens.
Right.
That happens more than you know.
Right. Bidding is one of the hardest parts of construction, I
Yes.
think, because it's hard to account for what could happen. So then you end up overbidding and lose the job, or you want to land the job, so you underbid it, and then you fuck your company out of money or whatever.
So believe it or not, the way that's kind of been working as of late is there's some companies that are coming in at about 4% margins. As you know, you're a business owner.
Yeah.
4% margins is not good.
No. So they're
But
like undercutting the market.
But they're undercutting the market to ensure that the other contractors bring their prices down. But the other contractors won't, because they know that this company cannot perform the work, even though they're going to get it.
Right.
They may get the initial job, but they won't get the jobs down the line because of all the issues that they probably created with the job that they're on.
Right. They're cutting corners.
Well, not experienced. Just not experienced.
Yeah.
they're new to that certain utility work, new to demolition work. Let's say they focus on asphalt in above ground post construction phase,
Right.
and they try and go into utilities or drainage or concrete. It's very interesting, and I'll talk to my customers like, hey, have you ever heard of this person? And they're like, never.
Right.
And these people just got 3 huge jobs with the FDOT, with Florida State. And it's just really interesting because a lot of people drive. This is something that kind of bothers me, is a lot of people just are mindless throughout their day. Completely mindless.
Yeah.
They're not aware.
Yeah.
And I hate being too aware. I feel like I'm too aware of things.
What do you mean by too aware?
So I'm constantly thinking about every possible situation,
Right.
or I'm aware that, the country's not headed in a good place, in my opinion.
Oh, no.
Or aware that the rich are getting richer. And listen, certain people have worked very hard to get to where they are.
Right.
But we are being used as cash cows. We're meant to stay sick. I had a cancer incident 5 years ago. They thought it was cancer. It wasn't. I lost 60 pounds in a month, throwing up 4 times a day, and
Jesus.
all the things that come along with that. I won't get too graphic.
Yeah.
But I spent $15,000 on tests for them to tell me, we don't know what's wrong. We don't know what's wrong. And eventually I said, screw it. I had to get surgery because of all the things they put me through, really jacked me up. And I dealt with about a level 9 pain for a whole year.
Did you ever get to the bottom of what the problem was?
Nope. Still deal with it today.
Yeah?
Still deal with it today.
Is it in your back?
What do you mean?
Is your pain? Where the pain that you have?
Solely in my stomach. So it basically feels as if someone's squeezing your stomach and turning it at the same time. So I've changed my diet 10 times. I've done anything I can to try and help mitigate the pain, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
If you eat something that doesn't sit right, you're throwing up, and as soon as you throw up, you don't feel well.
Yeah.
It's just the way it works.
Have you found kratom help?
Kratom has helped.
Yeah.
Kratom's definitely helped a lot. The red I like more than most because it seems to help with the pain.
Yeah.
And I don't like taking a bunch of ibuprofen because I already have now a sensitive stomach.
Yeah.
I'm already on certain medications for anxiety and depression, so I don't like any pills.
Yeah.
I really don't. I'd rather have anything natural.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, marijuana's been a huge help. It's able to keep me from having night terrors at night. It's
Really?
I couldn't tell you the night terrors I have at night. It's 5 times a week, but ever since I've been on the On It supplement, the Total Human, I've actually not experienced them.
Really?
It's very interesting.
Shout out On It. On
Yes,
It Labs is
yes.
fucking brilliant. They do Alpha Brain. They do New Mood. They have this now Total Human pack.
Yes, it's got kind of a combo of all of that.
Yeah.
It's a twice daily multivitamin. It's expensive, but at least you're getting a good result.
Yeah.
I felt great within 3 days. I've noticed I wake up quicker.
No shit.
I'm on top of my game. My mind picks up things quicker. I'm sharper. I can remember what I did throughout the day more.
Yeah.
And I don't have night terrors.
Do you find with marijuana, so like I've been a marijuana smoker basically my whole life. I don't know if I'm proud to say it, but I think the first time I smoked weed, I was like 11 years old, which now I look at like my 11-year-old nephew and I'm like, he's a child.
Yeah.
Like, I cannot believe I was smoking weed at that age. But then I smoked consistently until I was, in my 30s. And I had a couple experiences with marijuana that triggered what I would consider to be like a schizophrenic break. I got severe paranoia. I thought close friends were trying to kill me. And I got to the point where I realized, like, I just can't smoke anymore. And now that I've kind of stopped, years later, have been able to get to the point, like, end of the day, in bed, watching a movie, I can smoke a very small amount. That's the other thing is dosage, right? As long as I control my dosage, it's a lot better. Do you, because you have a medical marijuana card, do you ever deal with any of that, like, paranoia that can come along with marijuana?
I think there's always a paranoia that comes along with anything. I don't experience the heavy paranoia because I think I've been a regular smoker. And it's funny, I actually came from the opposite end of the spectrum, in which I thought everything was the devil. So I grew up thinking my biological father was a drug addict, alcoholic, and my mom raised me proper. She did a great job. Shout out to Kathy Moore. Best mom in the world. And she basically ingrained in me that everything was evil. All drugs were evil. And that's all right, whatever. That's her way of parenting. I had a girlfriend when I was 17 that ended up saying, hey, let's smoke. I was like, okay. And this girl was so toxic, first of all. But I will give her credit that she got me to smoke, and that opened my eyes. Because the first time I smoked, the first 3 times I smoked, I was hallucinogenic high.
Yeah.
So I actually thought I was in a different place. I thought I was in Germany.
Really?
Yeah, dead serious. I thought I was in Germany, driving around and, like, looking at all these German houses. And
holy shit.
Dude, it was wild. It was wild. Never had that feeling ever again.
No.
But, you know, the thing with smoking is it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
I think, you know, as both of you and I listen to Joe Rogan, it's not for everyone.
Right.
But alcohol isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
Alcohol's not for me. If I drink 2 glasses of wine or 3 beers, I feel like crap for 3 days. There's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
But it's so accepted.
Accepted is an understatement. It's glorified in our culture.
Yes.
You know, if you watch TV, you see scantily clad women all over dudes. Like, the alcohol makes you cooler. It makes your life better.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the source of so much problems for people.
Yeah.
And it's hard to see when you're in it, but, like, since we started drinking kratom, we drink, like, very rarely. Celebratory.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Of course. Weddings and things like that.
We'll go to a concert, have a few beers.
Nothing wrong with that.
Always feel fucking like shit the next day. Remind myself why I don't drink.
You know,
but
you're going to...
We love trash reality TV, right? Housewives and fucking Below Deck and all this shit. And if you watch it, now that you're removed from drinking alcohol, you see all this fucking drama and mayhem. It's always caused by alcohol.
100%.
Like, outside looking in, you can see, like, if they weren't drinking right now, there'd be no fucking problems. Then again, there'd be no television show.
No.
You know?
No. But it's also a trash TV show, no offense.
No, it is. It is. That I called it. You know?
I know, of course.
It's a guilty pleasure
and that's
of trash
okay.
reality
and
TV.
hey, listen, you're allowed to have your guilty pleasures.
Right.
There's nothing fucking wrong with that at all.
But it's so funny that once you remove yourself from daily drinking at night, it's so much easier to see how many problems come from drinking. But for some reason, it's glorified. I mean, we say for some reason, but it's probably not hard to assume that there's a reason they want us all fucking drunk.
Yes. And, you know it's funny. I was, you know, trying to look at things to prepare for this, and I saw an interesting post. It was a picture of all these monkeys in a courtroom, right? And this goes back to, I don't know if you know why weed was illegal in the first place, made illegal back in the day.
I've heard a couple different stories.
But I'll get into that.
Yeah.
So it basically talks about these 8 monkeys, right? These 8 monkeys, there's a set of bananas in the room, and there's a ladder to get to the bananas. But every time the monkey tries to get to the banana, the other monkeys pull the ladder because they want to get to the banana, and they get sprayed with water.
Right.
So eventually, you know, after they do it for so long, any monkey's like, I'm not going up there because I don't want to get sprayed with the hot water anymore.
Right.
I'm done.
Right.
So they remove one of the original monkeys and bring in a brand new monkey, right?
Yep.
So he looks at these other monkeys. He's like, what the fuck? Why aren't you guys climbing the ladder to get the bananas? It's right there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
So he climbs the ladder, tries to get the bananas, but they pull him down, beat the shit out of him.
Yep.
Right? They remove another monkey, bring in a new monkey.
Yep.
So now there's 2, right? So this guy tries to do the same thing, and now the monkey that just went in there, starts beating this guy's ass because everybody else is beating his ass, right?
Yep.
So this continues, and they end up replacing the whole room with new monkeys, right? None of these monkeys have any drive to get to the banana anymore.
Right.
It's been completely taken away from their thought process.
Right. Through the behavior of their surrounding peers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you know, so going back to what I was going to say, William Albert Hearst, I believe that is the name. I apologize if it's not.
Yeah.
Came out with Marijuana Madness, or Reefer Madness.
Reefer Madness.
Yeah. And talked about how basically African Americans were going to go around raping and pillaging on marijuana.
Yes.
And what most people don't know, because a lot of people don't dig into things, is he owned most of the National Forestry at the time.
No shit.
And
he was a newspaper guy, right? Okay.
Newspaper guy.
Yeah.
And he owned a bunch of the paper companies. And at that time, the decorticator came out, which was able to harvest hemp and make it usable for textiles, clothing, whatever you want. So he has this plan to basically say, well, I'm going to not let this happen because it's the new billion-dollar crop, and I'm not going to lose all my forests and paper mills. So he puts out this film and, you know, lobbies hard against it and basically gets it made illegal, Schedule 1. All
so
because
that people couldn't make paper out of hemp.
Yeah.
And he could
or textiles or clothes. I mean, if you look at hemp, if people actually looked at hemp, to grow a forest to get to where you harvest it takes about 10 years, okay?
Okay, a forest of regular trees.
A forest of regular trees.
Okay.
To harvest for wood, paper, whatever you may call it. And that, I may be wrong. I apologize. But hemp, you can harvest 3 times a year. It grows 10 feet tall. It's completely burn resistant. It can be used literally for anything.
Yeah.
They're thinking about making a battery out of it. I mean, it's sad what greed and money has gotten.
How it shapes culture.
How it shapes culture and life.
Yeah.
And how there's no more middle class. We're left to the poor versus the rich.
Yeah.
And I have nothing against the rich. Listen, I've worked very hard to get to where I am in my job.
Right.
And I think a lot of people don't work hard anymore, and that's sad. I really think that's sad.
So I want to touch on that. So I was having a conversation with my mom the other day about people's mentality in the workplace. It's like nobody wants to fucking work anymore. And she's like, have you seen all these videos going around TikTok? There's all these videos, I wish I had them loaded up in the computer, but that are saying things like, don't give 40 hours of your week to somebody who will replace you after you die. They don't care about you. Take all the breaks. Fuck your job. I can't help but think that that's like outside influence, right? All these fucking meme farms and shit from Russia, China, who are trying to fucking destroy our workforce. You know, because these millennials, and I don't want to bash anybody who's like, this is a great generalization, right?
Yep.
But people think like, fuck a job, you know? And it's like, dude, take pride in what you do. I'm not saying to be a slave to the system, right? But there's so much to be gained from being a great asset to your company, and that you can grow from that. But for some reason, young people have been trained that you shouldn't be fucking working. Fuck a job.
Well, the other problem to that too is to get to where you get like to the point I'm at. It took me 6 years.
Yeah.
You know, you tell that to someone and they're like, screw that. I'm not going to wait 6 years, but that's what is required. You know, if you think you're going to get handed a $150,000 job right out of high school or college, you're nuts.
Right.
You have no experience.
You have to work for it.
You know, and I can't tell you how many times that I worked a miserable job for 3 years, hated my life, but I sacrificed those 3 years to get to where I am.
Yeah.
You have to make sacrifices.
You invested in yourself that time to get to where you are.
But see, I didn't even look at it like that.
Right.
Because I wasn't even thinking. I wasn't in that mindset of, hey, listen, you know, I think I'm investing in myself. I just thought this is a part of the process and this is the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
You know, and to all those people out there that get told, well, you don't have experience, well, fucking keep trying.
Yeah, you got to get experience.
Just keep trying. You'll eventually land a job like I did.
Yeah.
You can't just apply for one job and be like, well, I'm fucking done.
Right.
That's it, you know? And I don't know where the disconnect happened. I really don't know, because I feel radically different. I'm only 29, but I feel radically different than most 29-year-olds.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more of like the 35 to 40-year-old range.
Yeah.
Just because of the things I've been through, the things I've experienced, the way I think.
We have fucking work ethic. You know, I don't know where it's happening either. Some people think it's happening in academia, that people are being taught that you are going to be obsolete. You know, enjoy your life. So like this video I pulled up right here. Let me see if I can start it over. I can't play it on here, but I'll share it on the Live from Hakuna post. It says, fuck your job. Do only what makes you happy. You are not a slave. You are not an office bitch. Hard work is bad for you. And on this video, it shows this girl in the woods, like, you know, just taking in the sunshine. You are not a slave. You are not an office bitch. Hard work is bad for you.
I feel like this is a big pharma commercial.
Dude, what the fuck is this?
It's I hate saying this, but it's the you know, the white women that are privileged. It's the people that are privileged that say all this stuff, that are hiding behind their gates, but they say, hey, go take care of carbon emissions, but we're going to drive a SUV and private plane to wherever we go.
Yeah.
I don't know how you enjoy the spoils. Like, let's say you're stuck in the middle of bumfuck Egypt, Montana, or South Dakota, right? You've got no money in your bank account. You barely got a house over your head. You barely got food in your belly. And you're going to say, fuck work? You're going to say, fuck work. How do you can't elevate yourself?
Yeah.
So what do you do in your 16-hour day period? Do you just walk through a field of lilies and flowers, and somehow that...
It's not real. It's not reality.
But that's the problem with social media, and that's why I don't have it. It's
So you're off social media.
Yeah, I don't really do. I'll do Facebook.
Yeah.
I like Facebook posts. I'll do Facebook stories every now and again to keep people in the loop.
Yeah.
But I really just, as Joe likes to say, post and ghost.
Yeah.
You know, I'll just post a little bit of knowledge or what I think is knowledge, or something to get people riled up.
Yeah.
And it's funny how
like
crazy.
Throw a grenade in the room and then just
Oh
watch.
my God, it's so great.
I used to do that too.
Oh my God.
I try to do it less now.
Yeah, it's not as fun. My thing now is kind of play devil's advocate. I always try and play devil's advocate for everything. I don't think enough people think of multiple perspectives.
Yeah.
You know, and I grew up where you had to think of multiple situations. You had to think of multiple outcomes. And I think that's what I was talking about, being aware. Like, you know, like most people never have the thought, that airplane flying over my head is absolutely incredible feat of engineering technology.
Yeah.
No one has that thought.
That shit gets to me, like this fucking metal tube that's fucking a couple few thousands of pounds is fucking just floating in the air.
What about the fucking bombers or the drones that we control from half a Earth away, whatever you want to call it?
Have you seen the new Top Gun?
So I actually just bought it for vibes. And, dude, I have to say, that was the most American feel-good movie I have seen in a long time.
In a long time. We watched it last night. And I said to Danielle's never seen the first one.
Okay.
And
well, that's kind of tough.
Yeah, but I was saying that think about the first one. How many kids joined the military or the Navy or the Air Force just because what they saw in fucking Top Gun? We used to have this, like, I think it's Tim Dillon who says it. Maybe it was Tim Dillon or...
Good old Tim Dillon.
But somebody was saying that it's like we used to have a little bit of American, like, arrogance.
Yes.
You know, a healthy level of
We are
American.
proud.
Yeah, proud Americans.
Proud Americans.
Now everybody
Not proud boys, proud Americans.
If you have an American flag, you're put into this circle of like you're a racist Trump supporter. It's been turned into a derogatory thing to be proud of our country,
which is insane.
Insane.
Like I understand. Listen, every country has its issues, right?
Right.
But what people also don't look at is this is the first time this has truly been tried. It's the first time.
Yeah, we are. It is an experiment.
It's a brand, and we're 300 something years old.
I
man.
think only 250. We're actually getting to what most democratic empires, or if that's the right term, democratic republics have. Is usually ends at about 250 years.
And have you ever heard Randall Carlson talk about that?
Yes.
And how it always ends in gender-focused, hyper-focused identity crisis,
and why is that? What happens there? And bro, I couldn't see.
I think there's a couple factors.
All right, what do you think?
I think that there's a lack of community now. Back in the day, we grew up, everybody had a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
Everybody was involved in the community.
Yeah.
Now people are so disconnected, they don't have a community. So they want to sign up whatever ship is in the local area and jump on board and just go with it.
Yeah.
You know, like I watched this video this other day of, sorry to all you out there that, you know, don't like the way I talk or the way I feel, but these women, it was a transgender march. By the way, let me say this first of all, I respect everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone has the right to do whatever the hell they want.
Be who you want to be.
Be who you want to be.
Yeah.
As long as you're not hurting me, I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. You deserve to be happy.
Yeah.
I want everyone to be happy, and I want everyone to be successful. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
I really, really sincerely do.
Yeah.
But when you're sitting there and you're barking like a dog at cops, what do you think is going to happen? What is that?
I don't know, man. I don't know. We've gotten to this point where we don't respect authority. We don't realize like men and women who are putting their lives on the line every day are here to like, you know, help us. And now obviously when we're talking about police, like, you know, there's bad apples in every bunch, right? But for the most part, these men and women who are willing to put their life on the line and to serve their community, like, don't fucking throw rocks at their fucking vehicles.
And you know what I hate? The argument is like, well, they signed up for this job. They signed up to be a protector of the community, typically. They didn't sign up to get shot at random stops, ticket stops. They didn't sign up to be worried about them coming home to their family. Like, I'm so tired of people not looking at the other perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and it gets really exhausting to me because how do you become a compassionate human being? How do you become a better human being if you don't learn from others?
Well, you know what one of the problems is these positive reinforcement feedback loops or echo chambers that social media cultivates, because if somebody has a different opinion than you, you can just block them. And now, all of a sudden, everything you see in your news feed like is your same perspective, and you get like stuck in this what you think is reality that's not balanced, and nobody wants to hear somebody else's perspective anymore.
No.
You know, it's like we need to be able to have give and take, and we understand like some people don't see things the same way as you, but I say it often, you can come to any local watering hole and people of all different backgrounds and political ideologies and religious beliefs can hang out and sing the same song. Like, we all can coexist, but
easily
social media and mass media is constantly trying to convince us that your neighbor is your enemy and they are other than you, you know? And it's just that's not reality.
No, and it's like, how do you get two news stations that tell you the exact opposite thing? Like, that's like, how do people not see through that?
So my poor father is, you know, he takes CNN as gospel, right? When we were in the middle of that pandemic and he was like, he would text me about getting vaccinated. I don't want you to die because you're getting misinformation from the internet. I said, Dad, like, I'm not in the at-risk group for this thing. Like, I believe that you know, you're diabetic and you're of a certain age. Like, the vaccine might be something that you want to do, but for my wife and I, like, we're not going to do that. and we're not in the at-risk group. And he responded with, Blake, it killed a baby, right? And I'm like, I killed a baby. I said, did you hear that on CNN? And he responded with, yes. Like, he's like, of course I heard it on CNN, you know? And then you kind of dive into the one news article he was talking about, and it's this fucking Chinese family who threw their baby in a dumpster because they were afraid that they were going to get COVID from it or something. You know, it's like, there is no mistake that, like you're saying, there are two different news outlets that say two completely different things. Both claim to be the truth.
Yeah.
It goes back to the art of war, or 48 laws of power is what it is, divide and conquer.
Yep.
Right? There are powers that be that run all of the dissemination of information that want us to be against each other.
Yep.
You know, and then they villainize people like Rogan, who's taking an objective look at both sides of what's happening, and look how they paint him out. Like he's a fucking...
And what's funny is he's a liberal.
Yes.
He says that.
Most people don't realize that.
That's what, but a lot of people won't listen to him.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, but I have to go to the restroom.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Is that all right?
Please.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Please, I'd rather
it's been a long
I'd rather
day.
use the toilet than the bar stool.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
Give me
no
one
problem.
second.
Absolutely. Got you, brother. And we're back. Nobody knows we even stopped.
Hello.
So we were talking about people thinking that Rogan is right wing, but he is far more liberal, and he talks about that often.
Yep.
But this is the way, like, I often say this about Kanye too. Anytime the media is telling you somebody's crazy or spreading misinformation, I highly suggest dive into what the fuck they're talking about. You know, they
But
did. Go
people,
ahead.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
you're
off.
good.
But people just want to spout that headline. They want to spout the clickbait. They want to spout that. But they don't want to do objective searching.
Right.
And I'm not saying Google it and look at the top link. Okay? That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because guess what? If you go on Google, you can find anything that proves your point. Anything.
Yeah.
You could find the perfect theory for flat Earth.
Yeah.
Okay? And it would make you believe.
You mean the Earth's not flat?
I believe it's a rectangle. It switches on a daily basis. Sometimes it turns into a hexagon.
You never know what shape you're going to get.
You never know.
Well, I think what the point that you're making is rather than finding something that supports your opinion, dive into the shit that doesn't support your opinion and kind of see where what the happy medium is there, right?
Yes, and if you're talking to someone, like I always love to, all my friends know I love to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
All of them are like, dude, you're the worst, but it's really to gain a further understanding of how they got to where they got to.
Yeah.
You know, because that gains a deeper understanding for me.
Yeah.
But not a lot of people want to ask those questions. They don't want to really care. It's all sub-level conversation or top surface conversation, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
People don't really want to delve into a conversation anymore. They want to text. They want to be on their phones. I mean, anyone here who's going to watch this, you could be out at a bar, restaurant, movie theater, whatever it may be. You're going to find multiple people on their phones. I mean, how many people do you see driving and texting?
Yeah.
Or watching a video, you know, and it's atrocious. But no one calls that out. That's what upsets me personally, is all the things that people just let go.
Yeah.
Like Brittany Griner, for example, right?
I don't know who that is, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah.
Brittany Griner, the WNBA star that's held in Russia.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, right? So she's got caught for weed, 9 years, right? Jail. That's what she got.
Yeah.
What about the tens of thousands of Americans that are in jail for 30 plus years or less than that for selling an ounce of weed to an undercover cop?
So you're saying everybody's outraged about what's happening to her, but nobody wants to talk about all of these people who are in prison for a drug, a substance that is now legal in many states. So I did some math the other day on this, right? So the math is, I'm going to be using my phone here, guys, for those of you who are listening and not watching. I'm going to look up some statistics here. How much does a prison make per inmate? It was something about $50 a day. I don't know. That's how much do prisoners make. How much money do prisons make? So I think the number was $50 a day per prisoner, right?
Yeah.
How many people are locked up in America for marijuana charges? It says 40,000 here, 40,000 people. So if we were to do the math just based on this information
just
I
on
have
that,
here.
right there.
So calculator, 40,000 times 50. That's $2 million a day times 365 days. $730 million a year. The prison is getting paid from the government.
That's one prison.
People who are
smoking a plant.
Yeah, right. So this is why there's so much, like, people don't want to, like, say, okay, well, marijuana's legal now, because if they have to let all of those people out of prison, that's one prison. No, because the number that I looked up was how many people were in prison in the United States.
Yes, you're correct.
Right?
I'm sorry.
So
You're
across the board, still $730 million annually would be taken out of the prison budget if we were to release the people who were in jail for marijuana.
But that's also coming out of our dollars.
Oh, right. We pay that.
We pay that.
Yeah.
We pay that fee.
Yeah. But do we, like, is money real?
I don't know honestly, I don't think any of it's all just bullshit.
We just sent $40 billion to Ukraine. Where did that money come from?
They printed it. I don't know what significance it has. I don't know enough about the financial district, but it makes no sense to me. I mean, what I don't understand is we have all this money for other nations, but we can't fix our inner cities.
Yes.
We can't take care of the homeless.
Yes.
I mean, there's certain situations like LA, from what I heard. I've not been out there, and those of you that know me always say, well, why do you focus on California? And why do you think about things that are outside of the state? Because it could come here. Why wouldn't we want to learn about it before we could possibly have that issue?
Yeah.
You know?
It's potentially coming here, my friend. Are you looking for your vape? You got it? It's potentially coming here, right? Because here's what's happening. After COVID, during COVID, DeSantis kept our state open, right? And people were fleeing these draconian measures in New York and California, right?
Yep.
When they move here, then they end up voting the same way that they voted in California and New York.
Yep.
And we potentially could end up in that same situation.
Yes.
You know? So you have to be mindful of what happened in those states, so you can say, all right, let me be aware of what could potentially happen, and let me fucking educate the people who fucking moved here. Like, don't vote the same way you did. You know?
It doesn't make sense. You know?
Do you think DeSantis is going to run for president?
I think it would be a good move.
Yeah?
I think just because of what he's done with Florida. The problem is I don't think Trump's ego would allow that.
You mean to be as a running mate?
Yes.
Right. But what about DeSantis on a ticket by himself?
So I think DeSantis, I think he could pull it off. I really do. I think he could pull it off. But, you know, I would still like to see what things he has in store, what he says he's going to do. You know, I mean, obviously it's probably all a lie anyways, but at least, you know, you get to see, you know, but where the country's going because we didn't like mean tweets is not something I like either.
You know what's funny about the mean tweets thing? They banned Trump from Twitter, but the Taliban has its own account on Twitter.
And people don't say anything about that. People don't say anything
they don't
about
realize
that.
it. I think they don't know. And even if they do know, they're like, well, you know, everybody deserves to have a voice.
Did you hear about, what is it, Brett Weinstein? And the Twitter case that he had?
Where he did Unity 2020?
Well, maybe it wasn't Brett, but there was a gentleman, I forget his name. I'll have to look it up later.
Oh, no, I know exactly who you're talking about. I just watched him. Alex Berenson sued Twitter, first person ever to win. And now he's going to be suing the federal government.
He's suing the White House.
Right, the president.
So here's to all my friends that say that these tech institutions don't have a agenda, okay? That they're not left-wing, that they're just doing their job and looking out for everyone. Well, if the White House is contacting Twitter to have someone shut up and kicked off your platform, what? That's not canceling?
Yeah.
That's not taking away someone's monetary platform?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, that's Twitter's choice.
Yeah.
Well,
not
when
if
Twitter
they're being coerced by the government.
Yeah, and not only that, but if that's the only avenue that people get their information from.
Yes.
Well, people aren't going to go to Substack.
No.
People aren't going to go to Oracle.
Although Substack is like really growing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about putting this on Substack.
It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea.
They pulled one of my episodes. I don't know if I told you that.
No.
I had this kid on named Kyle Bancroft. Really smart young man. He's into finance. He has this company called Soaring Finances, and he helps people understand the stock market and whatnot. Really smart kid.
That's awesome.
We started talking about the vaccine and the I word for that one therapeutic that they said was a horse dewormer. And we put the podcast up. Nothing came. I mean, it probably got 70 views, maybe 100 views, you know. And a couple months ago, I get an email from YouTube saying your episode, your content was removed for medical misinformation. So I went back and I watched it, and I think it was that I word or something. But he also said, like, do you think Bill Gates, like, created this to, like, kill the population or whatever? And I'm like, oh, we were going to get us canceled, bud.
If he did, he did a shit job at it.
They pulled the fucking podcast, you know? And it wasn't saying anything crazy. Honestly, if you listen to it, I was being super objective. And I would say, well, if you were wearing your tinfoil hat, you know, maybe you would think this. But so I thought about putting that shit up on, like, Rumble.
Rumble's one of them, too.
Rumble or Substack, and then telling people, like, YouTube pulled my video. Go check it out on such and such, you know?
Yeah. But, you know, the problem with that is who knows how to navigate those sites?
Yeah, no. Not at this point. Like Twitter,
like
Facebook, Instagram.
They've made
like
it so easy because it's the easiest thing to do. You know, when you go to, like, a Reddit and a subreddit, it's not easy to find a subreddit and know how to get there and stay, or Discord, or you name it. Like, I'm tech savvy when it comes to work applications, Microsoft Word, Adobe, things of that nature. But when it comes to finding back page information, no. Your main information is unfortunately Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or
those things now come preloaded on your phone.
Yeah.
You know, which is another thing. So I had a friend in here who actually is our friend Brandon. Shout out Rever Deep. He was working here, and he was doing another job where he was giving out free cell phones to underprivileged neighborhoods.
That's cool.
Is it? I said he got paid $20 or $40 for every cell phone that he gave away.
That's kind of sketchy.
Who's paying for that?
Yeah, that's kind of sketchy.
And why do they want people who can't afford cell phone service to have a fucking smartphone?
So they have a tracker on them.
Tracking, mind control. You know, what's the incentive to be giving out? They say it's under the guise of, like, well, we're helping the underprivileged. Bro, you're fucking giving somebody this fucking mind control device? When he told me he was paid $40 per cell phone that he gave away.
That made it completely sketchy. That turned me off instantly.
Who's paying for that? And why would they be willing to pay that kind of money to...
It's like going to Uganda and handing out gallons of water for $50.
Yeah. Or going to Uganda and handing out cell phones that have Facebook preloaded on them. There's been conversations about that.
I don't know if they have towers out there.
Facebook has been used to, like, overthrow governments.
Have you heard about, like, the church groups on Facebook?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You and I are tuned into the same, you know, sources of information.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realize this about, like, Russian troll farms and how much information we get through our social media that we think is real. But if you dive into what you're talking about here, is 18 of the top 20 Christian fundamentalist Facebook groups run.
I think it's out of Ukraine or one of those. It's not Russia, but it's
no. I think it's the Internet Information Agency or something. I'm pretty sure it's Russia, but maybe it's Ukraine.
I think. I want to say it's Uzbekistan. I think it's Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
I think it's Uzbekistan.
And then the one
one of the weird
talk
ones
about how there was a a Texas separatist Facebook group and a, like, Muslim fundamentalist group.
Yep.
They both run by Russian troll farms, and they set up rallies the same day across the street from each other.
Yep.
You know, there's also this really interesting interview with a KGB defector.
Oh, I love it.
From the 80s.
Yep.
And he talks about the long game that Russia would play.
Or China.
By infiltrating our education system and and changing the minds of 3 generations of children to eat a country alive from the inside.
Yep.
If I were to fucking look at what's happening in this world right now, I would guess that we're looking at 30 years of fucking targeted,
I'd say we're beyond 30, to be honest.
Right. So if it was the 80s, then we're looking at 40 years, maybe even longer.
Maybe even longer. You know, who knows? We don't know when technology truly came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, all the stuff that we have is from the military like 30 years ago.
Yeah. That's
you
right.
know, we don't know what they truly have. I mean, they have hypersonic missiles that they're coming up with.
Yeah.
Like, who knows what they're capable. I mean, I can tell you right now, one of my buddies in college, his brother worked for the Navy, and he was an engineer. He engineered a system that if we got EMP'd, we could shoot a missile to intercept the incoming nuke based on the stars. It would use the GPS from the stars to triangulate its coordination to intercept an incoming nuke without any electricity or guidance from a satellite.
That's insane, dude.
So, like, who knows, like, what we have? That's why I say, I'm like, when people are like, well, social media, you know, you're already being seen, so why not? I'm like, because it's terrible for your mental health.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, and it's not by accident, dude. It's not by accident. Have you watched the Social Dilemma?
Yes.
And how they talk about, like, these are all people who fucking quit their jobs because of ethical reasons, talking about how this shit was designed to fucking, like they said, the race to the bottom of the brainstem.
Yep.
How long can we keep your attention?
Yep.
You know, that shit's not by accident.
No.
Fucking, what's his name? Zuckerberg was on Rogan. Did you watch that one?
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Whoa.
I'm still on. So I've been a little bit behind. I've been jamming out to a new Mac Miller album and JID. And
Is there a new Mac Miller album?
yeah, came out a month ago.
No
That's
shit.
something I'm very confused about too.
Well, it's like the Tupac album that
since
came
you're
out.
an artist, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How does someone who dies come out with 3 additional albums after their death?
Okay, there's the one, like what they would say it was, and then there's this other shit that people talk about, being able to use somebody's recordings to
Always
make
wondered
them
about
say
that.
whatever they want them to say. But what they said about Tupac was he recorded so much content that was never released. And then actually Eminem was able to get the rights to all that, and he produced it and put new instrumentals under acapellas of Tupac. That could be what happened with Mac Miller. Mac Miller was like a fucking creative genius.
Yes.
Constantly pumping out content.
God bless Mac.
Oh, God.
You're missed.
You know, he's part of the 27 Club.
I know, man.
What are the fucking odds of that?
You know what really sucks too, and it's one of his songs. He talks about, he's like, don't mix that shit in my drugs. I ain't trying to die along those lines. I can't remember the line. It's been a long day.
Like, he fucking knew it.
And that's what happened. And the people went to jail. But it's like, how does that happen? How does someone as great as that always get taken? You know, and they have demons. Obviously, they have demons.
Yeah.
But I have demons.
Yeah.
We all have demons.
Yeah.
Is it the fame? What is it? What is it that causes that?
I was just talking to Chiquilla about this, about how all of these great voices who are voices for hope and love and community end up being fucking taken.
Yeah.
And you can't help but think, like, is there a fucking concerted effort to silence these voices? You know?
There has to be. There has to be. Because Maxx music was so transcendental for me. It was such a huge part of me growing up. And anytime I listened to it, it hits something in my brain. You know, unlike most people. There's just something about it. It's like with J. Cole. J. Cole's kind of the same way. J. Cole
Yes.
hits that. Eminem, for me, was always that way.
Yeah.
You know, I could relate to Eminem because he was a white rapper.
Yeah.
You know?
He was talking about things that you could relate with.
Yes.
I felt the same way.
Yeah. And he had the respect of the black community.
Yeah.
Which is huge. You know, and I learned actually a lot about black rappers through Eminem.
Yeah.
Which was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Obi Trice, you know,
Yeah.
you keep going, 3-6 Mafia, all
Yeah.
those guys.
Yeah.
You know, very different styles of music, but without Eminem, I think the whole rap culture would be different. And I've heard interviews where big time artists agree.
Oh yeah.
Where they can't keep that flow. They don't. That's his flow.
Yeah.
When he's just boom, 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 you know, just spitting it.
Yeah.
And it's like hard to keep up with, but it's better than that mumble rap bullshit.
Dude, what is that?
I think it's the beat. You know, I think people just love the beat,
Yeah.
and they're just putting lyrics behind it. But it's like I don't understand how people like that.
So I made rap music for
Yes.
a long time. Part of my creative process is I would go into the booth and I would just spit out gibberish, right? So I could figure out my cadence. There'd be no words there. I would just do like mumbling, and then I would go back and be like, all right, I really like my delivery here. Let me find words to fit to that.
Yeah.
And I often joke now that if I would have known, I would have just released that. Because that seems like what they're releasing.
Yeah.
Just the rough
First take.
draft, first take of mumbling.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But these kids eat it up and they think these guys are so talented. It's like, there's no offense. Like, I can't knock the hustle, right? But is there people who are putting this music to the forefront that want to dumb down our youth?
It's like when Eminem talks about, you don't understand the MCs and the rappers that got us to this point.
Right.
You don't know what the fuck they went through.
Right.
To get us to this point. This is the shit you guys are putting out.
Yeah.
It's like, I know this is going to sound crazy, but I was watching a interview with Vanilla Ice the other day. He's like,
I want to get him on here so bad. I've messaged his
that would be
Instagram.
cool. That would
He
be
lives
cool.
right there in, I think, Wellington.
Yeah, he's close.
Yeah.
He's close.
That would be sick.
And he's talking about basically how there's been no culture in rap or pop or hip hop since the 90s.
Yeah.
There really hasn't. There's been no style. There's been no dress. It's always just been the same chains, gold, platinums, nice cars, and crazy visuals in the music video.
All these satanic
Yeah.
undertones.
Yeah, that's something I don't like either.
Yeah, same.
We're getting very far away from a morality stance.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with that, and I get it. I was not a Christian for a long time. I had a rough childhood. Biological father was addict, drug addict, alcoholic, and my main thing was how does God, this all merciful God, allow a father to love drugs more than he loves his kids and wife?
Oh.
And I struggled with that question for like 10, 12 years. And eventually you realize that it's not him. It could be the devil acting.
Yeah.
There could be multiple other factors to it.
Yeah.
And I wrote him off at 22 eventually, but
Sorry, Max.
it's okay. It is what it is. You try for so long and you try hard for someone, and you're not paid the respect that you're due, in my opinion, and it just goes by the wayside.
No offense, but it's his loss, man.
Yeah.
You're an amazing young man.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. When you're talking about the morality being gone and all this music, talking about all this shit, one of my favorite artists right now, and people have mixed views on him, but is Tom McDonald, and he talks about that shit often.
Yes.
And he talks about how mumble rap and drugs in the music is like destroying our minds.
Yeah.
And he also, I think he talks, I don't know if it was him or somebody else, but this is a great example of how our culture has changed. An artist like Eminem, when he was at his prime, could never exist today.
Never.
Because he was saying some crazy ass shit, and nobody was safe, right? But that was kind of the point. It wasn't like he targeted one group of people. It was like nobody was safe. It's almost like comedy. Like his job was to fucking poke holes and make fun of, these people that we hold on these high pedestals. Nowadays, if you say anything that goes against the cultural norm, like, you'll be fucking canceled.
Yeah, you're done.
You couldn't, and it's like art has now has suffered because of that. The only thing that's allowed to fucking proliferate, if that's the right term, is nonsense.
And there's no more Superbads. There's no more Step Brothers.
Correct.
All that's gone.
Correct, because of cancel culture.
Have you seen him talk to Randall Carlson, Joe Rogan?
I've seen it in like I can't remember specifics from it.
I think it was him that mentioned this, that most of the greatest societies of all time, like the Greeks, the Romans,
Yeah.
so on and so forth, all before they crashed and just died off, they became hyper-focused on sexual identity.
Right.
And gender identity.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and listen, I get if you want to identify as a woman, as a man, as this or that. But listen, there is two sexes. There's two genders, male and female. That's common throughout the animal kingdom. I look at humans as animals.
Yeah.
Okay? We may be smart,
are.
but we are fucking animals. We have a lot of animalistic primal nature to us.
Yeah.
Such as the drive to mate and proliferate
Yeah.
and continue your genealogy.
Right. It's like it's a necessary part of existence.
Yes, it's like you're driven to do it no matter what.
Right.
But it's like we don't recognize that. We don't recognize that we have those traits, that we do these certain things because of that primal nature, because of how we grew up ancestrally,
Right.
or whatever it may be.
If you were to want to have less people on the earth, what would be a good way to get people to stop having children? Maybe convince the youth to lob off their genitals?
No, see, I think there's a couple problems with that too. Is one, you're going to be taking away from a population, and then you're going to have a deficit of children for a generation.
Right.
So you're going to have a lack of a workforce. You're going to have a lack of a lot of things, right? The other part with that is, though, and I hate to say this, but Darwinism doesn't typically apply to human beings. Okay?
Interesting.
So, which I always, that's one of the things that I focus on a lot is, it's, you look at animal cultures, you look at lions, you look at cheetahs, tigers, bears, oh my, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The fittest survive.
Survival of the fittest, correct.
Right?
Yeah.
That does not happen with human beings. I mean, more than 50% of human beings in the United States are obese. If back in the day, like when we were still living in caves, if you were obese, you're dead. You can't run away from a fucking lion or tiger or jaguar.
Right.
And then you want to get mad at the rest of us who work our ass off to stay skinny
Yeah.
because you couldn't stop eating.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody has that issue. Some people have legitimate issues.
Right, like a thyroid problem or whatever.
And I get that.
Yeah.
And I feel terrible for you.
Yeah.
I really do. That sucks.
But nobody wants to admit that most of the obesity that we are the fattest country on earth, and most of it comes from fucking McDonald's and big gulps and supersize, and
people don't want to eat healthy. They don't want to take time out of the day. And going like what you were saying on COVID, 80% of the people were obese.
That's right.
But no one...
You can't say that if you were fat and sick, you were most highly at risk.
But it's like, that's not healthy. It is not healthy to be 4 or 5 and 400 pounds.
Yeah. But it's highly accepted. And now we're in this culture of, like, big is beautiful. And listen, people are beautiful. And people come in all shapes and sizes.
Yes.
But this is the only time on earth that poor people are fat.
A lot of poor people are fat.
Yeah.
It's weird.
But then there's also the other side of it is it's expensive to eat healthy.
Like my grocery bill once a week is $250 because of how healthy I eat.
It's not necessarily the fault of the consumer in America for being overweight. It's how they've been trained. We see these advertisements for McDonald's. There's a McDonald's on every corner, but if you were to go shop for produce at Publix, it's very expensive, which I have a cheat code for that, by the way. There are like Latin grocers or markets where the Spanish community knows that they are serving their community, so they don't put these crazy markups on their produce. So find a nice like Latin market and go support small business, and you can get the freshest, best produce for the best prices. Like there's this place called Don fuck, I can't think of the name. Anyway, if you look up like a Latin supermarket, and sometimes I'm so out of touch. I hope that's not like a derogatory way of saying that. But a Spanish market, you can get great produce for a low cost. So the cheat code right there.
Yeah, that or go to Walmart, because no one at Walmart eats fruit.
Dude, did you see my video I put up of me in line at Walmart?
No.
I'm fucking in line, and it's like fucking 75 people in line waiting to check themselves out. And I'm like, look at this. This is the world we live in now. Yeah. I'm in line to check myself out at Walmart.
Where I just did all the work.
Nobody fucking works here anymore. It's very like, and the only person who works there is the poor bastard at the front that's there to make sure you didn't steal anything. You know, to me, it's a sign of what's to come. They have these new Amazon stores where nobody's in the store. You go in.
All robots.
Yeah, you pick out your shit, and it just, as you walk out, it adds it to your Amazon bill.
Yeah.
You know, which is why you don't need people, right? I think the powers that be know that eventually, like, we don't need a workforce. Everything's going to be automated. You know, the World Economic Forum released that video that's like, you will own nothing, you will rent everything, you will be happy, you will eat no meat, you know?
No meat is insane.
What is that? Why people are so against eating meat?
I think the problem is a lot of people don't actually look at the issues. Like when I talk to vegans, right? And I'm like, do you actually know how bad it is to have just one thing, one field of soy?
Monocrop or whatever.
Yeah, monocropping. Yeah. And then not only that, but I see it all the time because I'm on the road. But if you see a tractor tilling a field, there's birds just hanging out, picking off all the dead animals.
Yeah.
Just left and right.
Yeah, you're destroying an ecosystem.
Yeah, a complete ecosystem.
Yeah.
You think you're saving things, and it's like with the electronic vehicles. You think you're doing all this good, and you because you don't have exhaust fumes coming out of the back of your truck. But guess what? Where do you think the power comes from?
Yes, that's right.
Most of it's coal powered.
That's right. Not only that, what are we going to do with all these batteries?
Yeah.
It seems insane. It's all of these things.
But people don't think about it. It blows my mind. They're just like, well, we're doing our part and that's it. But they don't really think about, what about all the kids that rush down to the bottom of the mine to get the little bit of cobalt that's left?
Yeah.
Or the slaves that made all of our phones. My phone's over there.
Yeah.
But it's like all these people talk about, all these terrible things happening in the world. Slavery is such an issue.
While they're tweeting it on
their slave-made phone.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't realize that our phones are made by slaves. That information isn't shared with people, and we hear it through the same sources.
Yeah.
But other people, they don't want to hear that, and they don't like make the connection, and that this phone made by slaves is fucking $1,200.
And it scares the piss out of them if they thought about it.
Right. So that whole cognitive dissonance thing comes in.
But guess what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I can't go to China and change their workforce.
Right.
I can't even do that in America.
Right. Which is what shows the importance of, like, what Trump was trying to do was bring manufacturing back to the United States, and everybody, villainized him for it. And, we saw during COVID when all this supply chain shit happened, like our medicines, our microchips, all of that shit is made in China.
85% of our antibiotics come from China. 85%.
What the fuck?
85%.
What the fuck? And antibiotics is is a modern medicine marvel that has saved, has extended the life expectancy of humans, yet it's in the hands of the CCP.
Yeah. And the CCP is nuts. I mean, I don't know, because, and this is what I always like to tell people. I don't know shit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I know about what I sell. But all of this is just opinions and things that I've gathered.
Right.
I don't know what the CCP is really like, but I know that from the people that I've listened to, that they've stolen over $500 billion worth of technology, infrastructure, plans, blueprints,
intellectual
coding.
property.
Yeah. And, people think that it's not a big problem, that they're buying up all the farmland.
I was just going to say, not only that, the fucking amount of land that they own.
It's insane.
So I started thinking the other day, like, well, what are the odds that, China would fucking, invade the United States? And then I'm like, wait a minute. It's not, they're already here.
They're here. There's
They're
no invasion
already here.
and who knows what they brought in.
Not only that, but like, Russia too. Like, there's probably fucking tens of thousands, if not millions, of, Russians that are already here. That if it's just like go time, they go to the fucking local storage unit where they've got all this fucking shit stored.
Yep.
It's fucking scary to think about.
Yep.
It
is. That's when I'm going back to the awareness point. Is it's almost like I wish I wasn't aware.
Right.
Because it'd be simpler.
Like that. Like ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. It'd be fucking blissful as shit.
Yeah.
But now I'm like too involved, and I can't, as a good human being, as a conscious human being, I can't ignore it now.
Yeah.
I want to pass on the message and tell people, hey, this is what's going on. This is what's going on.
Yeah.
This is my opinion on it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll tell you, I'm wrong.
Right. What do you think about aliens? Actually, hold that thought. Now I have to pee. You started a trend.
Nice.
I'll be so fast. Shell while I'm down there?
Yeah.
This here. Shell and tea?
Yeah, please.
Red, white, or green?
Red.
Flavor?
Just lemon juice. Coming to you live from Hakuna Macabre, motherfuckers. What you know about that long dick salad from under cheese on top? That's that good, girl.
Hope everybody's having a great night. It's so awesome being here. Like, so awesome.
Thank you, sir.
Boolah, brother.
Hula.
Boom.
So aliens.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. What do you think? And make sure to keep this right there with you. Yeah, there
Yep.
you go.
Thank you. It's a crazy topic.
Yeah.
I think they have to exist. I mean, there's no way they don't.
Right.
There's the problem is we don't actually see the vastness of the sky anymore. Like when you go to a mountain, you feel like small.
Yeah.
If you could look up every day and see the Milky Way galaxy, you would think vastly different of your life, in my opinion.
But light pollution has kind of like blocked
Completely.
us from that.
Completely.
Yeah.
So I'm going on a trip in February to Oregon to snowboard,
Sick.
and we're going to this place called Crater Lake. And Crater Lake if you get it under the right conditions, basically you can see everything.
Yeah.
I'll show you a picture. I know those of you that are not watching right now or are not seeing this.
Yeah, just if you want to see it, just Google
Crater Lake at night. And typically most of your pictures are going to be in the snow. But for example,
Holy shit, you can see the whole fucking Milky Way.
Yeah. Now imagine being able
Look
to
how
see
many
that every day.
stars there are, bro.
Yeah. It's insane. So imagine being able to see that every day, right? And then thinking that, well, we're the only ones here.
Right.
You're fucking crazy.
Right.
You're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Now, the question is if the aircraft that's been sent here is, number one, is it drones? Are they recon vehicles? What are they?
Yeah.
They're everywhere, you know, and you go to certain videos and certain Air Force guys, and David Fravor's one of the top ones.
Yeah, with the Tic Tac.
With the Tic Tac.
Yeah.
And, you know, something that goes from 60,000 feet to 1 foot
Yeah.
in less than a second
Yeah,
is
blink of an
absolutely
eye.
insane.
Yeah, but some people think that that's potentially not UFOs, but we have been able to reverse engineer a UFO, and we might actually harness that have that technology ourselves. And what we're doing is like, all right, let's see what the best Air Force pilots, fighter pilots in the world would do when confronted with this, you know?
Yeah, I could see that point.
Going to what you said about the military having technology 50 years in advance.
That's not a bad point, but the problem with that is we don't understand gravity still.
Right, or how to harness the power of it.
So we
think.
think, but I've listened to some pretty smart people, and they say we have no idea. It's like you could send someone to MIT for 50 years to try and teach them about consciousness, but you're never going to be able to teach them about consciousness.
Right.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
There's no way to map the brain, any of that. So, you know, it's funny about aliens. I think there's multiple different types.
Right.
I think there's more than just one brand of alien. You know, for us to say there's only one type of alien, the small body, big head,
Right.
spindly arms.
It would be like saying there's only one animal that lives on our planet.
Yeah, it'd be insane.
Right.
You know, and to say that the universe is all expanding, never stops, and has an ungodly amount of galaxies in it,
Yeah.
and to say that there's no other planet out there. Now, I'm not saying I don't know how they get to us, but
What if it's not about them getting to us? What if it was their planet first? What if they've been here the whole time? They live under the oceans. And once we started setting off nuclear bombs, they're like, whoa, 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 whoa.
what are these
enough.
monkeys doing?
Exactly.
Now, that's interesting because that was proven back in, you know, the 1940s.
Yes.
In World War II.
Yeah.
We had a base that was shut down. All their missiles were turned off.
Yeah. I think that was a Russian base, actually.
No, American and Russian.
Really?
Yep, American and Russian.
Yeah.
And it's the problem with with the Russian, it turned them on.
Oh, yeah. Armed all their nukes.
Armed them. Ours, it turned them off. So I think they could exist. You know, they could exist underwater. I think they could exist as an auxiliary base on Mars or Uranus or a planet they know we can't get to.
Or on the backside of the moon.
Or on the backside of the moon. Whatever. But they definitely exist. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of, I've never seen one. I've been touched by, I would say, God or an angel. I've seen it once as well. When I was
Really?
13. When I was 13, I prayed. And I wasn't a very godly person. I was telling you before, I kind of gave up on God. You know, because it didn't make sense to me. All the things that happened to my mom and my family, it didn't make sense. But praying one night, and I'm like, Lord, I know this is going to sound stupid, but please heal my legs. Please, 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 please. I need to be able to walk. I can't. Playing football, I did something, and I messed them up. And as soon as I say amen, you know, I'm laying down flat. My legs at my hip go up, and my knees are at a 90 degrees, so it looks like this. And you know how a cold pillow feels, like a really cold pillow?
Yeah.
Like how comforting it is?
Yeah.
That went over, started at my hips, went over both of my legs, and I passed out instantly.
Holy shit.
I woke up in the morning, my legs have felt better than they ever felt in my life.
Really?
Yeah. Now, 2 years later,
Insane.
my mom on Mother's Day gets run over by my stepdad in a 2-ton Suburban, okay? Yeah. I turn around, I start to see it happen. There's nothing I can do. But as soon as her head's about to hit the top of the fan, bright white light flashes. And just so you know, the left front and left back went over her chest, kind of like here. And the right front and right back went over her legs. So you would think 4,000 pounds on a body, that's not good.
Yeah.
She only had road rash.
Like that was potentially some sort of like
Intervention.
divine intervention.
Yes. So, you know, when we talk about whether or not that's an alien, you know, who's to say that it's not? Who's to say that it's not? And then you may be a test subject and they want to further your life or see how you handle a certain situation.
Yeah.
Now, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. But that doesn't mean I can't believe in other things. That's what I don't understand about super religious people is you blind yourself to a lot of other ideas that could further yourself, make you a better person.
Some people have a theory that all of this talk about archangels and angels and the gods and stuff potentially could have been aliens. That the people who were writing the Bible or whatever, or these stories, were like, it was intervention from some sky creatures that potentially could have been aliens. I've talked to a Christian, like fundamentalist, when I start talking about aliens, rather than him being like, that's nonsense, he's like, well, I believe aliens are real, but I believe that they're angels, which I think is an interesting concept too, you know?
Yeah, that's interesting, but if they're angels, then where have they been? You know, who are they touching? You don't hear of a lot of experiences, like when you hear of contact being made with aliens, you know, Travis Walton.
Yeah, that's a great one.
You know, the South African...
The school?
School.
So did you watch The Phenomenon?
Yes.
Oh.
I've watched all of them.
It's outstanding. Wait, have you seen this really recent one on Netflix called UFO Documents Declassified?
Yes.
It's like 6 episodes.
I don't know if I've seen the whole thing
Jeremy
yet.
Corbell. It's got, this is the most recent one I watched. Dude, the information is just more and more compelling that there's something fucking going on.
And we have no idea.
No.
And it's kind of crazy how we have no idea. Because no one's claiming that they have that technology.
Yeah.
No one's claiming responsibility. No one's claiming anything. So it's like, is it really true? Is it really happening?
Jeremy Corbell was just on Rogan.
I listened to that one.
And he says that every day in war zones right now, we are encountering UFOs in the sky, in the dogfights, and people are having to make split-second decisions on whether to shoot down these UFOs. And he says that they have been shot down, like right now, happening in like Iran and Syria, that these UFOs have been shot down, and nobody, like you said, is claiming to say that it's theirs, you know?
Yeah, which is weird. I mean, there's a lot of things that are weird.
That's like some Independence Day shit, bro.
You think that would ever happen? A big-ass giant spaceship appears in the sky.
Sometimes I think that the movies that we see are to like desensitize us for what could come in the future.
Like you
know?
think they have an idea, or they know they're in contact with them?
Yeah, I do. There's the ex-defense minister of Canada, who did this thing in this hearing, and what he said was, and this guy's not like some sort of kook crackpot, like he's a fucking distinguished guy who was the defense minister of Canada, and he said there are 22 known species of aliens that visit this planet, 2 of which are currently working with the United States. That's what he said. Like, he testified to like Congress or some shit about this. Like, if you hear that, you're like, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. But when you hear it coming from a guy who's not some sort of fucking weirdo and has nothing to gain by saying it,
Yeah.
you know, it's like, what? You know, that's like some fucking Men in Black shit.
Yeah. And I think it exists. We have divisions, paranormal divisions for sure, that deal with all of that. And we're never going to know.
Yeah.
They're never going to truly tell us. I mean, you know, they say that they're going to release all the documents from the Pentagon in 160 days, whatever that was.
Well, they
a while
did
ago.
that release.
Yes,
they
but
didn't
it
say
wasn't,
shit.
Yeah. It didn't.
All they said was,
Showed one video.
there are UFOs.
Yeah.
We don't know what they are.
Showed one video of an aircraft. You know, and it's like, this is all we got in 2022? Like,
Did you see the one that's like night vision of the pyramid-shaped drones?
yes.
When I saw that, I had this like thought of pyramids, aliens, Illuminati, all of these connections with pyramids. They've talked about how aliens work with the elites and whatnot. And I just thought it was interesting that there's this pyramid-shaped craft that...
It is kind of odd, isn't it?
Something with pyramids, man. There's something we can't explain on how they were built. They fucking... I talk about this all the time on the podcast, how the Great Pyramid of Giza, its longitude to the digit is the same as the speed of light. Did you know that one?
I did not know that.
So, yeah, like there's like 13, 14 digits of its longitude, and it's exactly to the digit of the speed of light.
And how did they know that?
It's like, what the fuck?
And people just like pass it off like, yeah, they had slaves. They built it with slaves. It's
No,
like,
no.
If you look into it, dude, some of these bricks are 500 tons, and they
Yeah.
came from 500 miles away.
Yeah.
We can't even figure that out with modern day equipment. And I know
Right.
about equipment. Trust me, I know a little bit about equipment, and we don't have anything that would be able to handle that load.
Side note, have you heard about this fucking building they're gonna create in I think it's like Saudi Arabia or something. It's the world's longest skyscraper. It's like 100 miles long. It's like built like a wall, and it's gonna be everything you need
Oh,
inside.
it's the new plan for Saudi Arabia. Yes, I've seen this, but it's
70-mile long building.
it's not technically a building.
Saudi Crown Prince
Yep.
wants to build 75-mile long skyscraper.
Yep.
Two buildings, if completed, would reach 1,600 feet into the sky, likely nearly 150 stories, and will run parallel for 75 miles.
Yep. So they're trying to create a new city through that, is what they're trying to do. So any rain that would go through would percolate through the top, would make its way down to the bottom. They created a rail system, a community system inside of it. It's kind of insane. I've seen that. I've looked at it. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me how it would be accomplished, because it's a lot of gentrification, in my opinion, and
it
moving
just makes
people.
you wonder, like, what they know about our future. And if you're gonna build these fucking 70-mile long skyscrapers where you don't ever have to go outside, it's like there's this movie called Interstellar. At
Yep.
the beginning of the movie, it's like a massive drought, and it's from all the monocrop farming.
Yep.
We've destroyed the soil, and it's like they know that's coming, and they need to figure out a way so that everybody can live inside and survive in like what would feel like a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah. Now, if we ever get to that point, I'm out. Just take me out.
Okay, are you gonna get a fucking Neuralink?
No.
What about Generation 4?
What's that?
Like after they've done it, like, you know how we're on like iPhone Generation 10?
Okay. Now, what are they saying Neuralink is going to prove with?
So they said that Elon Musk says you will be able to communicate without words through Neuralink.
No. I'm out. I'm fucking out. So quick. That's cool. Don't get me wrong. But I like talking to people.
Right.
That you're taking away another human emotion.
Oh, it would eventually, I think, take away all human emotion.
Yeah.
You know? But
you know, and then you got CRISPR involved, and you have all these other gene editing programs that
I just read the other day. China has bioengineered a mouse that has all artificial chromosomes or something like
Yep.
that. And all what they tell you is that it's a mouse. They don't talk about the fucking guaranteed humans that they've already done it with.
no, like the HIV, the 3 kids.
Oh, right. Tell people about this.
So they did an experiment. There was a doctor that was told to try an experiment over there. And he got these 3 kids, and he injected them with some hormone or whatever it may be for anti-HIV.
To make them immune to
Immune.
HIV.
And as a result, they became immune, but they also became super intelligent. Super intelligent.
Imagine that.
And it makes you wonder, what do they know?
Not
You
only
know?
that, like, they say it was for like to keep kids from getting HIV.
Yeah,
First
but-
of all, is that a big problem?
Not anymore.
Kids getting HIV?
Not anymore. It's not a problem.
Right.
But it's China. They can do whatever they want. They
Create
do whatever they want.
Superhumans, you know. We're on the precipice of a world that will 10 years from now, I feel, be unrecognizable.
Yes.
You know, and I think that we're very blessed to live in this time where you and I are going to get to see what existence was pre-internet and then what the world becomes post-internet.
Pre-internet was great.
Dude, I had
miss
so
those
much
days.
fun as a kid riding
did
my
too.
bike, skateboarding, fucking
Hurting myself.
yeah, dumpster diving, like finding
Yep.
fucking thrown away bicycles and fucking putting different wheels on it and
Yep.
fucking spray painting it. Like kids don't do that shit anymore. It's
You
all
don't see kids outside.
Fortnite and TikTok.
And it's like first of all, TikTok's a China-run organization.
Trojan horse.
And it invades your privacy completely. I do not have a TikTok, nor do I plan on getting one.
Yeah, see, the problem is I know this information and still have a fucking TikTok. I need to fucking delete it.
Yeah. So my problem is if you, and I'm sure you know this, but for those of you that don't know, China only allows their children on TikTok to a certain amount of time, and then they shut it off.
Yeah, 10 p.m. or something like that. It's blackout.
And then when they scroll, they're not seeing stupid dances. They are seeing
Or
athletic
Tide
achievements.
Pod challenges.
Yeah. They're seeing athletic achievements, scientific achievements,
Yes.
experiments,
Yeah.
stuff to further your knowledge.
Yeah.
While we're getting just garbage fed into your brain.
Who's feeding us that garbage? China, or is it because we're not blocking that shit? Like China blocks it, so you can't put it out there. And here's the problem: is that now we're going to say, all right, we want the government to step in and make sure our kids don't see nonsense. But that opens up a can of worms of the government telling us what we can and can't watch.
I think it's a lack of parenting. Everybody just wants to hand their kid a tablet and a pill for ADHD, when really all they needed to do is go run and play some sports or be outside.
Yeah.
They don't need to be looking at a screen for 4 or 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible for your health.
So it's like you're saying it's like a quick fix for a busy parent.
Yeah.
Can just put a tablet in front of a kid.
And the kid shuts up and they watch their movie or whatever.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but you're giving kid access to the internet at 3, 4, 5 years old.
Which is just littered with pornography.
Littered with pornography, littered with all kinds of indoctrinations, agendas, whatever you want to call it. And it blows my mind because I would have never been allowed to do that.
No, I had to watch my porn through like a scrambled Cinemax channel.
You had to
where it
wait
was
till
like
12 p.m. or 1 p.m.
Yeah.
to when the soft
Cinemax
porn would come on.
and then you would be lucky to catch a nipple through
Yeah,
the blur. You're
maybe.
like, oh my God, that was a nipple. You're like, was it a guy's nipple or a girl's nipple?
You have no idea.
Well, you know there's no difference
No. No.
between a guy's nipple and a girl's
There's
nipple.
none.
Have you watched What is a Woman? Matt Walsh? Did you get to see it?
That's a rough one.
He fucking is going around asking all of these people, like, what is a woman? And nobody can answer the question. Because what you would say is, like, this is a childbearing human or whatever. But now they can't say that because apparently men can get pregnant.
Which I don't understand how we've I really just don't understand how we've gotten to this point. I don't know at what point we're just ignoring basic facts and science to push an agenda or to feel a part of the group. But it's very confusing to me, as in, guys, where are you going to push a baby out of?
So here's what the argument is that if you are a woman and then you have body dysmorphia and you transition into a man, now you are considered a man, but you have a uterus. So that's what they're saying, how men can become pregnant.
But you're not a man.
Well, that you can get canceled for saying that.
And I understand that. But if you look at biology,
Yeah.
you have a woman's reproductive organs.
Yeah.
You have a female's reproductive organs.
Right.
What is a female? A female is a woman that can have a baby that has the organs, the bone structure, the whatever you may call it. I'm not very well versed in biology, but whatever you may call it, and they're able to have a kid. Now, men...
seems pretty cut and paste.
It does. It does. Now, imagine men, like a true man, penis and balls, let me just be clear, having a baby out of his dick hole.
There'd be no children.
There'd be none. There'd be none. So it's like, what is a woman? And it is funny that you say that, because they're always like, well, it's whatever they identify it as.
Somebody who feels like a woman.
So so what is a woman? Someone, I can't answer that. That's everybody else's choice on what they think is a woman. And you're like, what the fuck is going on?
There's a scene in there where he asks, like, essentially, what's a gay man?
Yeah.
What is a woman? And the gay man says, well, that's not for me to decide. I'm not a woman. I can't answer that question. He goes, are you a cat? And the guy's like, no. Can you tell me what a cat is? And then the guy's like, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have had this conversation. It's almost like if you wanted to, again, destroy a civilization from the inside out, you would make them question the most basic
shit
of truth.
Yeah.
And make people think that there's no difference between a man and a woman. The earth is flat. You know, this is a way to make so they'll believe anything you say because...
And before we move on, one of the things that really ultimately pisses me off about this whole woman thing is I've seen my single mom for 25 years grind, okay, in a man's industry. Grind, and she's made it, right?
Yeah.
And now we're going to have athletes that went through puberty and have women who have fought for these rights for 100 years.
Yeah.
And we're just going to say that, well, sorry, you didn't lose the fight, but you didn't win it.
Right. It's almost like
it's a slap in the fucking face.
Through the guise of
Will
equality.
Smith kind of slap in the face.
Through the guise of equality for all, women are under assault. Women are being,
completely,
right? Like
completely.
Right
and
now,
I love women. I will stand up for. I'll stand up for everyone.
Right.
You know me. I support all my friends.
Yeah,
I
I
love
know.
everybody equally. But I will stand up for women because of my mom.
Yeah, and now there's people who have transitioned to womanhood who are now being named Woman of the Year.
After 6 months.
What about all the other women? You
spent 40 years as a woman. What kind of message does that send you?
I hate to say it, but I can't help but think like when we're having this conversation that there could be some sort of backlash for what we're saying,
And there might be.
And it's not like it's very like, again, to like reiterate, like you and I are the same in that we love people and we want people to be who they are.
I actually want everyone to be successful.
But you cannot like change fucking facts. I don't know. It's like
it's like me saying, hey, vanilla ice cream's the best, so you can only eat vanilla ice cream now.
Right. And if I say vanilla ice cream is disgusting, you're like that.
You're going to jail.
That's vanilla ice cream phobic.
Yeah. It's like, when Joe always says, hey, let's say there's another party here. There's 3 of us. and somebody's like, we're on an island, and he's like, hey, you can't have kratom.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna lock you up if you're in kratom, and you and I are on the same. Like, what is Phil talking about
Right.
over here?
Right.
That'll never happen.
Yeah.
But we let it happen with 370 something odd million, however many we have.
Yeah.
And it's not even a true representation of who we are as Americans. You know, like, this is my new thing. So I had two things. I'd kind of like to be an asshole when it comes to, you know, certain trends. So, like, with the vaccinations, I was trans-vaxxed.
Oh, right. I identify as vaccinated.
Yes.
Yeah.
I identify as someone who's vaccinated but isn't.
Right.
Okay?
Which,
you
if
know,
it works in other things, why can't it work there?
Exactly, but you'll get kickback all day on it, of course. And
Yeah.
then my pronoun is I'm an American. That's my pronoun. If
Yeah.
I have to choose a pronoun. Because believe it or not, pronouns are making it into construction, which is wild.
Really?
Wild. The one thing that's like the most, no one cares about that shit in the field.
Right. It's just get the job done.
Yeah, we're fucking out here in the heat. We're not worried about gender identity problems.
Yeah.
And it's all of this indoctrination out of college. And I was indoctrinated for 5 years. You know, I did an extra half lap.
Yeah.
And I came out of college and my mom's like, dude, what happened to you? And then after a few years, I realized that, you know, I had been indoctrinated. I'd been told certain things. It was led to believe certain things. And
Yeah.
it's the way I thought.
I've seen it happen with friends. One friend specifically, who I won't mention, who's completely blocked me on all social media, who was like, would be the first person to like fucking argue all this nonsense. But then they, like my use of the term they decided to get a college education later in life and did very well in school. But then I noticed their like ideology had changed. And I couldn't really quite figure out, like, what the fuck happened? And then I realized, oh, they went through fucking academia.
Yep.
And they got fucking indoctrinated into a way of thinking that is fucking super woke. You know?
It's insane that, you know, the problem is, and you know, this whole student loan debt thing, right?
Yeah.
You know, people are really upset. Who the fuck is going to pay for it? Yada, yada, yada. And I get that, right?
Who's going to pay for the money we sent to Ukraine?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Who paid for the banks to be bailed out?
Yes.
You know, it's like you're bailing out your own citizens.
Yeah.
You're telling someone that you need to go to college. I was told, I don't know about you, I need to go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college, go to college,
Yeah.
right? You go to college, you get a degree. You don't do shit with a degree because you don't know what the fuck you want to do at 21.
Right. You have a degree, but no experience.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, and then you're 18 and you're signing up for a $40,000 loan, but you don't realize what's going on. You're a fucking kid.
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
You know, I'm $32,000 in debt, and I make payments on the regular, but it's like, what the fuck is the fucking point?
There's not.
It's
There's
the
not.
one debt that you can't write off.
Yeah. Oh, that's the other thing too. It's like people are having their Social Security fucking docked for student loans from fucking 50 years ago, 40 years ago.
And it's insane.
And if you die, that debt goes to your children.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know, kind of. Okay, so here's the question. With all of this shit that's going on, like, what is the way out? If you had a child, if you had a dear friend who you've learned all this information about this crazy world we live in, like, what's the advice that you give somebody to fucking maneuver through this?
So that's a really tough that's a great question, but it's a tough question. You know, you want to give them as much information as possible, but you can lead a horse to water, but you ain't gonna make it drink.
Right.
No matter what, the person's gonna do whatever they want. But what I would personally say is look at your friend group, look at those that you're surrounded by, look at the information or whatever you're taking in, and see how that's affecting you. Maybe try and change it up. See how you feel differently, because a lot of people get so stuck in the same routine that they don't want to change. But change is good.
Yeah.
You know, you got to switch it up to grow and adapt. And a lot of people don't want to. They want to stay miserable. They want to stay mad at the system. They want to do this, do that. Listen, I could do that too, but it does me no good.
Right.
You know, to navigate this world is very tough. I've been through a lot of shit. And a lot of people think I'm like 37 because of that. You know, I'm only 29. But I've seen a lot. I've put a lot of thought into a lot of things, and compassion and being nice. It's so simple. It sounds so simple, but no one does it.
Yeah.
You know, and like dumb questions. There's dumb questions. No, there's fucking not. The person's trying to learn.
Yeah.
If they don't know something, they don't know something.
Yeah.
Why are you going to hate on someone for trying to learn? And everybody's so spiteful nowadays, and just is so quick to judge. It's so quick to hate, and so quick to be weird and all this. And you know, I don't understand. You know, so that's my point. Is smile, be happy, show others love. It'll come back around.
Yeah.
You know, there's no point to get a hemorrhage or you know, brain damage from freaking out at Fox News or CNN.
Yeah.
There's just no point. It does you no good. You know, but to navigate where we are, there's going to have to be a lot of change, man. You know, criminal justice is going to have to be completely reformed. Infrastructure is going to have to be reformed. The way that people work is going to have to be restructured. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. And the problem is no one wants to tackle it.
Right.
You know, because it's a lot.
They talk a big game and then get into a position to do it and don't.
It's a lot. You know, to change our whole criminal justice system. And, you know, people are upset about the Second Amendment and, you know, First Amendment and all this stuff. And you look at Australia, you know, their guns were taken away and then they turned into a military state during COVID.
Yeah.
You know, where they're flying helicopters over your fucking house and checking your coffee cup to make sure you got coffee.
A lot of people would say that's not real. That didn't really happen.
Oh, it happened. It happened. I've listened to people from Australia talk about it. It's insane. You know, but people don't want to recognize the atrocities that happen outside. It's like, well, why is the U.S. going in and doing this and doing that? I don't agree with all that we do in wars. I don't. I think it's not good, but if you allow, like, let's say you get a small ingrown hair. It gets infected. If you let it stay infected, it's going to spread. It's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. It's like not treating cancer.
Yeah.
Just because it's not hurting you right now doesn't mean it's not going to come back later. And America's not known for playing a long game. America's known for playing a 2-3 year game. China's 30, 50 years. Russia's 30, 50 years. You know, they have no time limit. They're not worried about it.
Right.
They'll put people in institutions to make sure that they get paid and they get the information. But it seems for some reason that our group of citizens just doesn't want to put in the work. I don't know what that is. I don't know where that comes from. But that's another thing is hard work and dedication means a lot. It goes very far. It's going to teach you a lot. I also would say fail a lot. Admit you're wrong.
Yeah.
You know, but always be compassionate to others because you have no idea what people are going through.
Yeah.
They may, like for me, for example, I may have the most happy-go-lucky face on and you know, killing it, but my dog went through surgery again today.
Oh.
And it's, you know, it's just been crappy and I'm exhausted. But, you know, I told you I was going to do this podcast at 9 and I'm fucking doing it because it's my word.
Yeah.
You know, and we'll do more of these and, you know, but it's sad how people have gotten away from that. People don't care about each other. I don't know where that disconnect is, though. I don't know how I care so much about others when others don't care at all about anybody else. They're all out for them.
I think social media has had a lot to do with that. We've learned to communicate with people where it's not face to face anymore, and you don't have that personal compassion like you're talking about, you know. And I agree with what you're saying, that, you know, it sounds so cliche, but, you know, the answer is love.
Yes.
And compassion
Yes.
for the people around you. You know, I also heard this thing on in a video years ago, and now it's like if I'm questioning my mental health from watching the world fall apart, I like to try my best to enact it, and it's the 3-foot rule. And if it's not happening in the 3-foot circle around you, don't give it that much life.
Yeah.
Right? You got to just focus on, like, if you turn off the TV and you just, like, hang out with the people around you, like, the world doesn't feel like it's ending.
Nope.
You know? And then another thing we do in our family is I've said this all the time, is next right thing. Like, you face choices every day of what to do next. And if you just go with doing the next right thing, the universe will reward you for it.
Yes.
And your whole, you know, friend group will benefit from that. And I think you said it best, like compassion. We need to have compassion for each other and stop thinking that, you know, your neighbor is fucking against you.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, just because I'm the outside salesman for South Florida doesn't mean I forget about my techs or those that are in the office.
Right.
Because guess what? Without them, I'm nothing.
It takes a village.
It takes a village.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm so sick of the politics, the left versus the right, and, you know, yada yada. 80% of us are all on the same team, yo.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I mean, we all agree that gay people should be able to get married.
Yep.
We all agree that trans people should be trans people. We all agree that some people have a worse hand than others, you know, and it so on and so forth. But we can't just ignore the fact and just say everything's happy-go-lucky and you know, it's just what it is, without tackling a serious issue.
Yeah.
You know, like the homeless people in LA. You know, it's like there's $5 billion dedicated to the homeless situation over the next 2 years.
Yeah. And multiple people who are making hundreds of thousands of dollars to work on it.
And nothing's getting done. You know? And it's crazy. It's just crazy to me. It's like people love lying to themselves now.
Right.
You know, oh, I have this electric vehicle, I'm not contributing anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
Nonsense.
do you plug it in at night?
Yeah, it's nonsense.
Yeah, it's nonsense. You know, where do you think the materials come from? You know, where do you think our food comes from? Why do you think our food's so giant? Our food's not supposed to be this big.
Bro, I saw lemons the other day that looked like fucking grapefruits.
It's crazy. And then here's another thing. Why is in vitro becoming so common? So here's, like, when I talk about animalistic, name any other animals where their teeth don't fit in their mouth, where they can't get pregnant, where their testosterone levels are dropping,
Yeah.
where all this shit is going on.
Yeah.
Try and tell me that there's no other. And in vitro is getting huge now. What is that? What is that?
It's like, you know, there's so many different variables, but it feels like our reproductive systems are under full-blown assault. And if you were to put on your tinfoil hat, there are people who run the world who think there are too many of us.
Yes.
And how can we make there be less of us? And
Yes.
what you said before was like, well, that will lower our workforce. But if you are of the belief that eventually we won't need people working, you know, we'll just need smart people to fix the computers and work on the robots, you know, you need a lot less of us, you know?
So if that happens, let's say that happens and everything becomes automated with robots. What do you think the rest of the population does? Where do you think they go? What do you think they do?
I think you know, you end up a lot of people dying off, man. You know, I think we're facing a world where, you know, a lot of people are going to die of hunger. You know, like you talk about water wars and shit. Like it's
coming.
It's kind of scary, but that's
coming.
where you go back to the 3-foot rule. Like we're not guaranteed tomorrow, right?
Never.
It's one thing we know, we are not guaranteed tomorrow. So you have to love hard today. You got to work your ass off so that if you do get tomorrow, you're fucking able to do what you want to do.
Exactly.
You know? And just fucking have faith. You know, it goes back to, you know, when you're talking about Christianity, whatever your belief structure is, like have faith in that everything will be okay. I started this Facebook group over 10 years ago, and it's called Save the World with Positive Thought.
Okay.
And it's a like a thought to the collective consciousness, right? So I know that what I think and what I say I create, good or bad. I know that. I've seen it in my own life, right? I've seen where people talk about the healing power of the Holy Spirit, and you've had like 7 or 8 extremely religious people pray over somebody's broken ankle, and it miraculously gets healed. Well, these people believe without a shadow of a doubt that their prayers will heal that person. Well, I think that there's something to that.
Yes.
And that the power of the unquestioned mind can really shape our world. So, if you get the entire world convinced that the world is ending, we're fucking doomed, then we are going to create that. But if we can get the whole world to collectively come together and think that we're going to be okay, everything's going to be all right. We are one human community on this earth, then we could shape a fucking, like, the world to not end. You know what I'm getting at here?
Yeah.
So if you guys are listening and you want to be part of that movement, check out Save the World with Positive Thought on Facebook and Instagram. We were at one point doing this thing like every Friday for 10 minutes. We would all, wherever we are, just project positivity and gratitude. And if you get fucking 1 million people to do that,
It makes a difference.
I think there could be some magic there.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
You know?
I'm going to bring up one more point, and then I got to go.
Yeah.
The dogs.
It got late, man. Yeah.
Well, I don't care about the late. It's just the dog had surgery, and he's coned up and drugged up.
I totally get it. Sometimes I'd like to be coned and drugged.
I could go for that right now. I don't know if you've heard the most recent episode on Rick Strassman.
I don't know if I know Rick Strassman.
So he is going into DMT. So they just came out with this study that there may be receptors in our brain, a collective system that DMT is constantly flowing through. So they put out this crazy theory that DMT may be regulating our reality. Just little bits and pieces here and there regulates our reality. And I've never done DMT. I've been, severely interested in it.
Yeah.
But I always thought that was an interesting point because it's like, where do our ideas come from?
Yeah, I talk about that all the time.
Where does your music come from? Where does the artistic style come from for certain people? They say it just comes out of nowhere.
I just had Jakia on, and we were talking about the creative process. And Jay-Z has a great line that he says, to create the best music, I crack the door open and I let God in.
Yep.
And it's like you're channeling it from somewhere. And I think it's interesting what you're saying about DMT because, some people know this, but when you sleep and when you die, your body releases DMT. Right? And it's said that DMT is like a fucking key into like the fucking spirit realm.
Yes.
So I'm interested to see what fucking comes from. Like, it seems like there is a slight awakening happening with psychedelics and DMT.
Thank
they
the
might
Lord.
start doing some studies with it. There's lots of people who are doing ketamine therapies, and I've heard close friends who have gone through ketamine therapies, and it's like completely changed them.
That's awesome.
So I'm interested to see kind of where that goes.
That's awesome.
I'm a little scared to do DMT, but I'm sure
me too.
I need to do it at some point.
I think that's respect, though. That's respect for the drug.
Right.
That's respect for the power of the plant.
Yeah.
And that's why you do it with important people you're comfortable with, and in a good situation.
Yeah, setting.
Yeah. So, I hate to end this, but
it's all good, Max. I love you, man.
I love you
really
too.
appreciate you.
I hope we
sitting
get
down.
to do this again. I'd love to keep talking. I could talk forever.
Man. We'll go ahead and we'll schedule it like 3 months out.
Yeah.
And we'll I think election season happens in November, so we'll get together afterwards.
Let's
and
get
we'll
a suit.
With the fucking, we wear suits?
Let's get something like crazy.
That would be fucking hilarious.
Let's get
And let's talk about kind of what we think the future of the world's going to be post all these elections that are coming up.
I love it.
Which is another good point. Guys, if you guys are listening, look into your local fucking representatives, who's running, what they're running on, because you can change what happens in your neighborhood. Don't just wait to vote for president. Like, see who the people are who are running in your community, because there are people who are trying to enact change. I've had some on here running for Senate, and they have some great ideas. So you find the places where you can get information. Go look at those podcasts. But remember what Max said, man. Compassion, love. fucking love wins.
And I don't always do it, you know?
It's not easy
It's
to
not
do.
easy. But I was miserable for so long, trust me, it's 10 times easier to be loving and compassionate.
Well said, man. I know
So-
you don't do social media, but usually I like to, like, if people want to like link up
Yep.
with you or whatever, would Facebook be the best way to
Yeah,
do that?
Facebook would be the best way. I have an Instagram. I have a Snapchat. I don't use any of it.
Yeah,
I'm old school. Call me.
yeah. Give him a shout. Or you
Call
can
me.
find him at your local watering hole.
Yes.
He's either bouncing around here, Island Vibes. Shout out
Yep.
Island Vibes.
Shout out Island Vibes. We're
Fucking-
building one in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah?
Yep. We're
Sick.
trying to find a spot, but
Sick.
that's the plan.
Sick.
So
Dave, the whole team at Island Vibes has done an incredible job of growth. All of their new bars are fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, Danielle and I are huge on
Yep.
on shouting out all of the great things that Kava is doing for our community. So check out the whole Island
and
Vibes.
right back at you guys.
thing.
You guys are fucking awesome.
Thank you, man.
I remember seeing this place
Thank
before
you.
anything was in it.
Yeah, you were in
and-
here, and I was like on my hands and knees
Yep.
doing these wires
Yep.
and shit.
Dude, that looks miserable.
We've
but
been so blessed that the community has shown up, and it goes back to we just lead every day with gratitude.
Yep.
And we just appreciate everybody who's come through, man.
you have to.
Love you, bud.
Love you too, man.
Appreciate you guys very much for listening and being a fly on the wall in this conversation. If you like what you heard, like, comment, subscribe, click all the buttons, do
Take
all the
it
things.
easy.
Yeah, enjoy your life. You only
Live
get
from
one ride.
Hakuna.
Ride the shit out of it. We'll see you next time, live from
Hey.
Hakuna. Boolah.